pleasant good evening again.
Yes, welcome, Dr. Wilkinson. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Personally, just to begin, first and foremost, it was a project given, a list of names, and as a group we came collectively to choose speaker, someone that we wanted to research on, get to find out, know who the person is, their contributions. And one of our colleagues came, she was like, why don't we do Dr. Efebo Wilkinson? I was like, oh, I'm into theatre, I'm someone that loves theatre. And not knowing about you, honestly, it was a sort of shame for me. I was like, oh, I could not know about this man and his contributions, and I'm so heavily involved in theatre. And personally, I went and did my research, and I realized it's less Efebo Wilkinson. I dig deep, and a lot of your stuff was extremely interesting, informative, intriguing. You have me even researching more. And as a body, when we met, we were like, everyone was so amazed. She was like, you know, he used to do music first, you know, he used to do, and to us it was the best, and this is not flattering you, but it's the best choice, because saying that we're into theatre, and theatre is encompass music, dance, technicals, you can name it. And you are the person who was actually holding that together. Despite you're into theatre so deeply, it stems into everything. So therefore, you must have some sort of knowledge to bring this entire thing together. And that was amazing. Actually, well, for me, it has been amazing. And when we had the opportunity to interview you, I was like, wow, it's so much of questions. Because honestly, we have about 20-something questions here. But we wanted us to break it up.
My apologies, I did not read them.
Right,
I know they were sent to me, and I tried to, but the pressures of time.
all right. So I'd just like to get straight into it. We got a little about you and so forth in the lecture earlier on today. But some very interesting questions my colleagues and myself would like to ask. And I would like to start the ball rolling by asking, what inspired you to stay in the theatre industry for so long? What was that inspiration?
Well, for one, because I do not consider a theatre industry.
Okay. Okay.
In fact, I have my own view about this new wave of calling everything an industry.
Okay.
It might be an industry, it might be a business, it might be whatever, but
Your perspective.
when you name things, you fracture certain relationships you have with them. But that's another story. And one reason why you may not have known about my involvement in the theatre so seriously is because of my other activities. I mean, I went over, I was a permanent secretary for all these years. I was an ambassador of Cuba and all these things. Mm-hmm. And that did not stop me from making theatre, you know. And I've not been as involved as I am now, but I have been always informing people and informing students. I've always had a relationship with the Department of Creative and Festival Arts. Since we started, I was there the first year we started. In fact, I was part of the team that put it together.
Okay.
And I've always had a relationship with and taught part-time at the Creative Arts Center until last semester was my last semester. What made me stay? What make people stay in the arts? You
Passion.
like what you do.
Passion.
There's a passion for it. There's a desire to see it done to the best possible degree it can be done. There's an eagerness to explore new ways of doing things. As you would have heard from the lecture, I'm still not convinced that we have found the right way into an aesthetic that would be a decided Caribbean aesthetic for the theatre. I feel that we can find ways, and if you had, any of you saw this last incarnation of Bida Kasawa?
Yes.
You would have seen what happened inside there.
Yeah.
You would have seen the kind of magic we made.
Yes.
And that's the kind of magic I feel we can make with every piece of theatre if we explore things in a certain kind of way. So what kept me in the theatre all this time? Because it's the place to be. I can't think of any other place to be. It allows me to explore my music, to explore my poetry, to explore my dance,
all aspects,
to explore my design, to explore everything.
And going forward, you know, we all have some sort of inspiration. I mean, so most times it'll be ourselves, but do you have any inspiration, any figure, role model, exemplar, that someone that has inspired you in the theatre arts?
Not really inspired me per se, but the person whose work I followed closely, whose efforts I very much admire, who to me is still greatly unrecognized in this Caribbean for all that he has done for it. Well, two people really. Errol Hill, Dr. Errol Hill, and Professor Rex Nettleford. Nettleford in dance, Hill in theatre, and they have led the kind of charge that I think people should want to lead, where you actually get down in the trenches and do the work, at the same time that you get into the libraries and do the research, get into the archives, do the research, and bring all those theories that support the work that you do. Not just leave it for others to look at and say, oh, he's doing so and so. So no, you do the work. I mean, there's work to be done.
The operations. I'll now extend the questions to other colleagues.
From reading and I understand that you did most of your plays, you did some of your music, some of your arrangements and stuff in your plays, and I would like to know what is your process in terms of getting the drama, the dance, and the music done for your plays. Like, how do you do it?
It's like asking me how I walk. I don't know. What is my process? Okay, I believe that you must begin with a very nice, a very well-crafted play.
Script.
And in terms of my scripts, I spend a lot of time crafting that work. And it is never done. I'm fighting now to make sure I'm not change anything in Bitter Cassava, because there's so much I want to go back to and reshape, rework, refashion in some way. But I believe that the theater begins with a very strong play, a play that is structurally sound, where different parts talk to each other. There is a conversation that takes place between the different parts of the play, and something happens that apparently is insignificant up in scene 1, act 1, and it suddenly begins to make a ton of sense in scene 3, act 4, when everybody in the theater gets the aha moment at the same time. I mean, there's nothing better than that. But that requires work, that requires a kind of attention to detail and a kind of sounding out what really is going on with people. One needs to get a sense of what's happening with people. But then when you begin to translate that from the page to the stage, as a director, you really have to cut that part of you called playwright out of the picture. You cannot work with you as playwright drumming in your head some nonsense when you as director trying to make sense of what is happening here. The director is really concerned with relationships. What relationships are there between X and Y, between Y and Z, between A and X? Unravel all these relationships on stage while working through the actors, while working through the dancers, while working through the musicians, and finding a way to balance them in such a way that the dances connect in some organic sense
Yeah.
with what is happening with the rest of the play, and that the music talks to the dancers in such a manner that they can execute those dance moves in a way that makes sense. But it begins with the actors who begin, in a sense, to make real what for moments before was only words on paper. And you have to allow them that space to define their own magic, to define their own relationships, and to define who they are in this space. You see, oh boy, when you as actor approach the character, the moment that you as actor place your physical, emotional, and spiritual self in the presence of this character is no longer just something on paper. This character is now real. This character now has a life, has a full life lived behind him or her, even as the character has a whole life lived between him or her.
Yeah.
A whole life lived before this moment in the play. And the actor has to then find a way to mesh with this new character and mesh this whole life history with this character's life history, and with this character's purpose. It's not the simplest thing to do, and the director has to find a way to so place the actor in juxtaposition with the character that the actor can see, that the actor can feel, that the actor can believe, and make his or her own adjustments. And the director then looks at those adjustments and say, wow, what is going on here? And begins to make sense of the play.
Okay.
It begins with the actors, and as the actors begin to work, then you begin to hear the music. I'll give you a good example, typical example. I wrote Bitter Cassava in 1979 for Morsica Folk Theatre to take to Best Village. We did the play again in 1984 for the National Drama Festival, and to take the play to the International Festival in Hollywood, in Los Angeles. I always knew I wanted Justina as the main character, getting all that damaging treatment from that man. And I always knew I wanted her to be named Justina, because I wanted that song, Go Away Justina, Who Will Marry to You, to be at the top of the play. 79, 84, 85, 87, all the people who have done that play since, Trinity East, SAGS, UE in 2008, use the same Go Away Justina, Who Go Marry to You. And I've always been unhappy with it, not satisfied with it, but I know I want that Justina there. This time we're doing it, and I'm listening. I have a belief that directors don't listen to their play enough. So there are times when I just listen. I'm listening. And suddenly I stop the play and I say, why not just, instead of singing, just shoot it out, Go with Justina. Go with Justina. Just shoot that out. Go with Justina. Same tune, same different voicing, different motivation,
Emphasis,
different
more.
emphasis.
Yeah.
You're not singing, just shoot it. Go away, Justina. So they did it. And I turned to Kimmy Stott and I say, why not tell her who will marry to you in whatever way you want, using the same music, using the same tones, using the same whatever, with whatever pause you want, just use the same music and ask her who were married to you. So let's go again. Let's shoot it again. Let's shoot it. With Justina. And Kimmy say, who were married to you? They say, well, what to do now? I said, Kimmy, what would you normally say after you see something? I'll say, I said, well, then say,
Yeah.
But say it as if you are counting down for them to bring her next Go Away Justina. She say, And they go away Justina. Somebody else bring it now, in your own song. And Deborah move out and say, who got married to you? And right there we had a linking of the music with the action
Yes.
in the most organic way, and it worked.
Natural. Yeah.
And therefore we cut half of the song and just kept that opening piece, and it worked.
Yeah.
And you see, but to say that is simply to say that I found a means of engaging the work that worked.
Correct.
And to me, that's what every director has to find, a way of engaging the work that works. Every actor has to find a way of engaging the character that works. Every dancer, each and every dancer on set has to find his or her way of engaging the dance that works. Each and every musician has to find his or her way of engaging the accompanying music that works. It's not just one uniform brah, brah. It's never that. Have I answered your question?
Yes.
And more.
I was surprised to find an answer.